As we get a little bit further into 2023, the more busy we're going to be with RPGs. Last month had us flying upon Hippogriff and Broomstick in the magical world of Hogwarts Legacy, taking our top spot from February. This month, however, we are more into action titles with challenging Soulslike combat as well as turn-based gems to take on. This month, we're in for a hellishly good time, so let's get into the top RPGs of March 2023. Honourable mention, Diablo 4 Open Beta. It's time to unleash hell, well, almost. Diablo 4 won't be releasing until June, but you can get a sneak peek of what Lilith has in store for you this month. An early open beta will be held from March 17th until March 19th, for those who have pre-purchased the game. Then there's an open beta for everyone else from March 24th until the 26th. The open beta contains the prologue and the whole of Act 1. This means players can explore the first area, Fractured Peaks. There will be some limitations though, so your character progress will only be able to go to level 25. Once you cap, you can still go ahead and hunt down demons to your heart's content, but you won't be able to level more than this. The beta will include dungeons, quests, and of course plenty of loot. In case you missed it, Diablo 4 is the next upcoming action RPG in the series, taking place many years after the events of Diablo 3. Sanctuary is slowly rebuilding, but old threats loom in the land itself. Lilith, the daughter of Mephisto, is closing her grip on the inhabitants, leaving them in despair. Taking up the mantle of one of the 5 classes, players will hack and slash their way through dungeons, demons, and more. Explore the world of Sanctuary upon horseback, and even eventually take part in PvP. While Lilith readies her army for June, you can join the beta this March on PC, Xbox Series, Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. You can head over to our Diablo 4 wiki for all the latest on gear, classes, weapons and more. Don't forget to drop by our Twitch channel as you can check out the game with us there. At number 5, The Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure. The Legends of Heroes Trails to Azure is the first official English version to be released on modern platforms. This JRPG entry is set just a few months after the events of the Trails from Zero, concerning the political complications of the Zemuria content. While Crossbow as well as the special support section seems to be at peace now, it's only a temporary situation. Tensions are rising between the Erebornian Empire and the Republic of Calvard. Lloyd, the main character of the story, and his group of ragtag allies must prepare themselves for the trouble ahead by gearing up. This is the finale to the Crossbow arc within the Trail universe. In Trails of Azure, players will be introduced to new combat features such as burst, back attack, and the use of a customizable car. There will be the return of a few familiar faces from the Trails Cold Steel series. The special support section will have new members and new duties to master in turn-based battles. Players can also import their saved data from the previous title Trails from Zero to have an enhanced experience with further event scenes and new scenes to enjoy. Save data from Trails of Azure will give bonuses for the upcoming game Trails into Reverie, which releases later this year. The Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure heads to PC, PlayStation 4 and Switch on March 14th for North America and March 17th for EU. At number 4, Mato Anomalies. Mato Anomalies is an anime-inspired RPG set in a bygone city and a more neo-futuristic parallel world. Investigating anomalies is your call to the city as you follow dual protagonists Doe and Graham, grouping up with some unlikely companions in order to unearth the mysteries in the city of Mato as Detective Doe and by travelling through rifts as Exorcist Graham. Will our heroes befall the dark fate caused by the insidious factions? Well, it's up to you to find out. The game lets players explore dual worlds with rifts that provide portals beyond space and time, but jumping between these worlds won't be easy as there are plenty of enemies to fight. Players can take up different weapons, skills, and use the dual talent systems to enhance their characters. The health system is also shared across all teammates, so players will need to keep an eye on balancing risk and reward in turn-based combat. Another interesting feature is the use of mind hacking, which uses cards instead of weapons. You strategize the best way to use action points and cards per turn with both offensive and defensive cards to use. If you like the idea of a Persona-esque title with a more detective edge, then this could very well be likely up your alley. Mato Anomalies will be released on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch and PC on March 10th. At number 3, Atelier Ryza 3 Alchemist of the End and the Secret Key. Atelier Ryza 3 Alchemist of the End and the Secret Key is the concluding part of a trilogy of games from the Japanese developer Gust. The RPG follows Alchemist Ryza as she unlocks powerful keys that grant her advanced alchemical abilities. In this third and final installment, players will follow her adventure as she discovers a secret hideout, interacts with secret fairies, and obtains ancient keys that influence her potent alchemy. happy island life has been suddenly abruptly interrupted for Ryza and her friends on the Kirkin Island. Seemingly out of nowhere, a new group of islands spring forth from the ocean. Instead of having large areas connected by pathways and loading screens found in previous titles, this one has an open world for you to explore. This will allow seamless exploration that will include no loading screens whatsoever. Ryza can now run or ride through various areas without interruption. Freedom is the name of the game here, and there will be tons to see. There is a total of 4 major regions in Atelier Ryza 3, and each will have its own distinct look and feel. Meet a total of 10 companions you can choose from, bringing the playable character count up to 11, including Ryza herself. This number in itself is a high point for the series, as no other game has had a roster this large before. Combat involves real-time tactical battles with up to 5 members in the party. Using keys will help boost a character for a limited time, reducing waiting time and letting you use skills and other attacks one after the other. Atelier Ryza 3, Alchemist of the End and the Secret Key will rise on March 24 for PC, Switch, PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. At number 2, Bleak Faith Forsaken. This one has been a while in the making. Finally getting its launch this month is the crowd-funded indie title Bleak Faith Forsaken. Its mix of sci-fi with dark fantasy is an intriguing one for Souls fans. In Bleak Faith Forsaken, players must tread through a relentless world referred to as the Omni-structure. This harsh omniverse is filled with treacherous terrain and menacing monsters, so prepare for an adventure full of intense combat and soaring boss battles. Leap, run and climb through the apocalyptic ruins of what was once a plentiful land, taking on the role of the last of humanity's protectors, the Forsaken, fighting to preserve the ancient remnants from their extinction. But just how much of humanity is left to save? As you would expect from a Soulslike, the combat will be challenging, inspired by brutal combat systems. Its class and perk systems draw inspiration from the likes of the Dragon Age series. In Bleak Faith Forsaken, you aren't alone in the wasteland, as creatures and adversaries await around every corner. The enemies are what you'd expect from the game, with Bleak in the title, with a Bloodborne-esque horror kind of feel with a sci-fi edge. Bleak Faith Forsaken will be making its debut for PC on March 10th. PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions are planned but will come at a later date. A highly anticipated title not just for this month of March but also for 2023. Warlong Fallen Dynasty centers around the Three Kingdoms period of the later Han Dynasty. This period is fraught with power struggles and conflict, providing a fitting foundation for an intense combat game. Drawing inspiration not only from history but also fantasy, players will be battling against hordes of supernatural monsters that are plaguing the dynasty. Take on the role of a malicious soldier committed to fight the Yellow Turban Rebellion. The game, just like the developer's previous franchise Neo, sets to have plenty of mythical and fantasy elements to it, with some brutal sword slashing to get you excited. Instead of a traditional character leveling system, the morale system will determine the character's success in combat. Defeating more enemies will raise your morale ranks. Enemies with a higher morale rank will mean faster progression, making facing off against more challenging enemies much more rewarding. But you don't have to go it alone, as NPC characters will be recruitable and you can also play alongside friends in co-op. Combat is set to be fast-paced, using both wizardry spells and martial arts to engage in fights against enemies. The use of the spirit gauge determines when you can block or dodge, but spamming attacks will empty that gauge, meaning keeping an eye on your moves in order to empower your martial arts. There is a range of fantasy elements and action gameplay which will be loved by both Neo and Ninja Gaiden fans. Warlong Fallen Dynasty will be released on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Xbox Game Pass and PC on March 3rd. Don't forget to drop by our wiki for all the latest info on the game. Well, that's a wrap for the top RPGs of March. Did I miss your favourite March release? What games are you most looking forward to this year? Please let us know in the comments below. In the meantime, you can check out our top 10 anticipated RPGs of 2023, and don't forget to check out more videos on these upcoming games.